Hey, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. We are very excited to be here with you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. Give a quick demo of the GitGuardian secret detection platform. So I'm Dwayne McDaniel. I am developer advocate here. I've been here for a little over a year and a half or so, helping people figure stuff out when it comes to secrets detection and secret remediation. Jason, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Dwayne. How you doing, everybody? I'm Jason Miller. I head up our new business development team with GitGuardian. I've been here for about 8 months or so, and looking forward to sharing with everybody, the solution and sort of the power of GitGuardian.
So, what problem are we talking about here? Before we talk about the solution, let's talk about the problem. And the specific problem is something that we can all relate to, and that is leaving the keys out in public. We don't intend to leave the keys in the front door, but we all have done it. We've all had our hands full. We've been in a hurry, and where did our keys go? And eventually, oh yeah, they're in the front door. No one means to do this, but we do this all the time in our code. Developers get in a hurry. They have a lot of things to do. There's a lot of things on their plate, and there's always pressure to get it done faster. So it's common to see people leaving keys where they shouldn't be. In this case, we're talking about secret credentials, API keys, username, passwords, database URLs, things like that. We know in public GitHub, last year we found over 10 million hard-coded credentials, and we watch it grow year over year. It's not a good thing, and this is something that keeps growing. We put out the State of Secret Sprawl report. That's where that 10 million number came from. We'll throw that in chat if you want to go check out that report if you haven't already.
Yeah, and as we run through the slides today, a couple of questions I think you want to have top of mind for yourselves are, do we have a remediation workflow when it comes to secrets? And can this be reduced? Can secrets be reduced, and are secrets actually preventable? And so you can see from the slide here, we spoke to over 500 CISOs and engineering leaders to really get a sense of what their secrets maturity looked like. And you can see some of the learnings on the slide here. What really stood out to me, though, was that about half of the leaders that we spoke with did identify that secrets are a critical risk, and it is having an impact on their organization. But still, a quarter or more than a quarter of companies out there are still relying on manual code review process.
And that's like literally finding a needle in a haystack with a magnifying glass. It doesn't scale. It is very slow, time consuming, and humans just aren't really good at it. We're not good at finding a specific string among millions of lines of code. But it's not just the detection. This is a much larger problem. Securing secrets and secret management maturity goes beyond just, did we find something out there? It's really, how did we store those secrets across our organization? Secret managers are great. We love vaults around here. It's just that it's not a guarantee that developers are going to use them. Just having one doesn't mean everyone's going to use it. And you probably don't have one. Every developer has been left to their own devices over the years, has their own way of dealing with secrets. And that's probably what they're going to prefer and what they're going to go toward. And no guarantee that vaults are going to solve this problem.
Yeah, and we also consider code just to be a leaky asset. And what we mean by that is it can show up in many different places. Thus, your secret can show up in many different places, whether that be in container images, in your CI/CD pipes, whether that is in Jira tickets, Slack communication, etc. And we also think of remediation. And so one of the questions I asked everybody to think about to themselves was, do we have a remediation workflow? Because detection is only half of the battle, right? It's great to know that the problem exists, but then how do we solve that problem, and how do we reduce that risk? And that's something that Dwayne is really going to drill into when we get into the product demo.
So to solve all of these problems, what we need is an end-to-end solution, an end-to-end way to think about this at scale. Again, it's not just detection. It's monitoring the right places looking for the right types of secrets, enterprise tuned to give you low false positives, get you the alerts when you do need to act and put those into the right channels, and get them to the right people. And then the remediation. If there's a secret sauce to our platform, I personally believe this is what it is. The ability to prioritize and attack the remediation at scale. And we really give you the tools to do that. Of course, analytics along the way to show how it's doing. And ultimately, if we can stop those secrets from ever making it into the shared code base, then all this other stuff gets a lot easier. Remediation is simple if you stop it before it ever hits that shared repository or leaves the developer machine. So this is what we're going to talk about the rest of today. And I didn't say it at the beginning, but we do want to make this interactive. So if you have questions along the way that you don't feel we're answering, go ahead and put them over there in the chat. We're happy to get to them. We're going to try to get through all the rest of this in the next 20 minutes. So we'll leave the last 5 minutes of today for your questions. We don't have a hard stop after this. So if we have people that want to keep asking questions, we're happy to spend the time with you.
Thanks, Dwayne. And so we spoke on the last slide just about code being a leaky asset, right? And showing up in all the different environments. So what do you say we jump in and you take us inside GitGuardian and show us where we're monitoring and where we're looking for these secrets?
So it does start by looking in the right places, and it helps if I'm on the right tab. So here's the GitGuardian dashboard. By default, this is the view you start with, but I'm going to start down in the perimeter view talking about this. Perimeter, when we say perimeter, that's all the places we're looking for secrets. That's simply what we mean by perimeter. In this case, we are looking currently at Azure repos and GitHub repos, a number of each, private ones, public ones. We were looking at GitLab, but we removed that for various reasons. Just to say it out loud, this is a demo organization with a lot of sample code in it, demo code. So if you see something like that's alarming, no, this is all demo. But if I want to add additional places to look, such as additional Azure repos or GitHub repos or Bitbucket or GitHub Enterprise or GitLab, I can do that from right here. And it's in beta right now, but we can look through your Slack channels as well to try to find where someone's passed a hard-coded credential, a plain text credential, which happens more often than we'd like to admit. And we're also working on Jira Cloud, but that's coming soon. Watch for news announcements on that. That's not available at the moment.
So it sounds like we're looking in all the right places, but then it raises the question for me, Dwayne. I might be getting a lot of information, a lot of notifications. How is GitGuardian cutting through all of the noise to make sure that I know what to focus on?
The secret of that really is in validation. So this is our documentation, just docs.gitguardian.com, and secrets detection is a whole section. And you can go read in great detail how we validate things, but that's the core of it. Can we tell if this is a real secret or not? And then has it been marked as, hey, this is a test credential in a way that language recognized or standardized in that, like Python or JSON. And we're looking for specific credentials that we can validate. We can't validate everything. Not everything has an API that you can just hit and say, hey, is this valid? But major things do. AWS, Google, Azure, all have these things. So the major players, we can easily validate and say, yeah, we are showing that this is real and someone could still exploit it. And there's a lot of detectors, about 400 of specific ones. And then we also look for generic things, which are a lot harder to authenticate or to validate out there. But things like bearer tokens, base64 strings, JOTs, username, password combos. So it's all over the map, what we're looking for. But we fine tune the engine. Again, you can go read more about this, specifically what we're looking for, and fine tune it for the enterprise. So we're only raising alerts if we think it's actually valid and worth the time to investigate, which is still a lot.
So speaking of those alerts, Dwayne, what does that look like in general, right? How will I get communicated with from GitGuardian that I have an incident?
Well, multiple ways, but I'm going to start where actually I started earlier, showing an actual incident alert. So this is a real email. It's highlighted because I'm filtering my emails here, but this is a real GitGuardian security alert that we have an AWS key. It's been added to this, again, demo repo. by someone on purpose for purposes of demo. We can see where it is. We can even jump right there, see what commit it's in, see what file it's in, and then we can hit the button and actually jump directly to the dashboard. I'm not going to do that because I actually have my dashboard set up to where I want it over here. But I can also send alerts to custom webhooks. So pretty much anything that can ingest JSON, you can hook GitGuardian up to. So PagerDuty and Splunk are very popular in this particular demo. Again, we don't have it set up, but these are very popular SIEMs, incident management platforms. Discord's another popular, almost as popular as Slack, and Slack probably is one of the most popular things we see people do regularly to get those alerts. We can also push things to Jira, but we're not going to get into that today. That's a little more technical than we have time for. But if you do miss an alert or you're worried that, hey, did I see everything coming through? Not to worry, because you go back to your incidents view, and here you can see all of the alerts that have come through gathered in one place. You can sort by date, type of secret, other information, but that all your incidents are gathered. So if you're going to be alerted in multiple different ways, and you can customize specifically how those alerts come in and where they go.
Great. So up until now, we've been sort of hinting at, remediation and being, something that is that's really unique to GitGuardian. So we're at about the 50% mark, right? We're monitoring, we're being alerted, we're reducing the noise a little bit. Now I need to take action, right? What makes GitGuardian unique, Dwayne, when it comes to the remediation workflow?
I get excited talking about this stuff. Getting detection and monitoring in the right places is important, but just knowing about a thing doesn't mean it's going to be easy to solve that thing. There's a lot of ways to go look for patterns. We're not going to lie about that. grep's pretty straightforward. It's not easy to write regular expression, but then you end up with this giant spreadsheet of data. And now I got to go collect other data and start gathering all these facts. And here, all of what you probably would want to gather is one place. So here we see a date of when the incident happened, what type of secret was involved, where is it, what file even, who did it on the team, what developer signed off on it. We actually add some additional logic on top of all of that to give you things like tagging, severity, and very importantly, if we can check for validity. So in this case, it's generic high entropy secret. We can't check, but I could actually filter for validity. Show you what one of those looks like. So here we have a valid AWS key. So I'm not going to show this one on screen, but what the actual secret is. But I could, if I hovered over here, show a quick preview, flash of what that one actually looks like. And we know that there are 3 occurrences. So it's not just in one file. This is across multiple files, across multiple commits. So I'm going to go back to look at this one because, well, again, I know it's a test credential because it's the QA team that did it. But we also have tagging. You can filter by all of these things. You can sort by all of these things. I'm not going to go through a detailed step-by-step what all of this is, but I think tags are important to at least call out. That you can look, see if it's in default branch, if it's from a historical scan, or if it's a more recent, from a live scan of something that actively just happened. See if it's publicly exposed, meaning we also found it out on GitHub Public. Was this a private repo that became public? We can detect those things. That's an attribute most systems have that we can all the systems have that we can simply tag with that. Is this a regression? Did you already solve this and now the problem is back? The same secret showed up for some reason. That's a different problem and something you definitely can tackle though with us. Is it in a sensitive file like an env or secrets.json? Or is it a test file? Like if it's in /test folder /test something, it's probably a test. I think very importantly though, from here we can see the status. We can see, is it being worked on? Have we already dealt with it? All from one place. So I can pull this back up. Statuses. There are 4 statuses. Triggered, it's come in, but we haven't dealt with it yet. Assigned, someone's now going to be working on this, and they are responsible for getting this thing solved. They're getting this ticket closed or this incident resolved anyway. Ignored and resolved, which we'll get into when we talk about the individual ticket. So let's go in and take a look at this one. We've already ignored it, but let's reopen it. Let's say it's triggered. I can go ahead and assign it to myself on the team, and now it's up to me to solve it. And I got all the same information I had before, so there's no way to check it since it's a generic credential. How many occurrences there are. It's not been leaked to public, so good. This is not a leaked thing. And it's in a default branch. I mean, this might be on its way to production. I need to deal with this. I know who did it. And right below that, I can see a remediation guide. Now, this is ours. We built this, and this is a default view. So you can edit this and customize it any way you choose. If you have internal documentation, internal wiki, internal processes, you can link to those from here. You can write this however you want. But the very first thing it says is collect feedback. And this is our feedback section. We make it very straightforward to get just the right data as quick as possible through this. Now, there's multiple ways to get this data. You can go over to their cubicle and talk to the QA team. You could write them a Slack message. You could send them a personalized email. But that's slow and it doesn't scale. What we've done is we've added the ability to share. This can grant that single developer, or in this case, the whole QA team, to that list and say, hey, you can come in here and edit this now. You can edit it, or full access, you can share it with other people. In fact, in this case, that's probably what we do. Say, all right, now the whole team can share it with an individual member of their team to go deal with. They can also share it publicly. So if it's somebody you're working with a subcontractor outside of your organization, this is a easy way to share the same incident with them. Now, you got to be careful with this because this is just a URL anybody can access. So if we put it in here, it looks pretty much the same as it does in the dashboard, but we are no longer in the dashboard. We are on our standalone page. So that developer can give us the feedback here. And in this case, we trust them to say, all right, we're going to go ahead and resolve this. We can say this is sensitive and I've already rotated it. Don't worry about it. Just revalidate that. Trust us, it's there, and sign off on it. Or, it's sensitive, but we're not going to revoke it right now because there are other issues. A cascade failure would happen if we pulled the system even for a minute. A lot of cases, it's like, well, this was a test credential. This goes to our server full of cat photos. We don't care if anybody gets in there. Or this is a false positive, which happens from time to time. I'll let them sign off on there and close it. But again, that's dangerous to leave that set out there. It expires after 30 days, but you can go ahead and turn it off as soon as you're ready, which is we just did there. Just realized that's been on the screen the whole time. Sorry about that, everybody. You've been seeing the hide screen from Livestorm. One other thing to call out here is teams. I don't have any teams set up in my in this account that I can show, but we have the ability on GitGuardian to assign things to an entire team. A team is a logical segmentation of your subject matter experts. So somebody's working on core, somebody's working on the API, someone's working on other sections, and there's people with that domain knowledge that you want to, again, organize, say, hey, you team, figure this one out. This one looks like it belongs to you. And then they can assign it themselves, assign various permissions, and manage the team at a much smaller scale. The larger the organization, the more teams makes sense. But that's it. That's how we remediate. Give you one platform so you deal with every secret, every incident the same logical way with the tools you need to get to a resolution. In this case, I'm going to go back to ignoring it because I know for a fact that was a test credential.
A lot of information there, Dwayne. I might be partial. I'm wearing the GitGuardian owl on my chest, but that was really, really cool. I really enjoy the ability to just communicate straight with the developer via that feedback form and everything. Some powerful stuff. Brings me to my next question for you. So it sounds like there's a lot of data going on in there. How would somebody learn from that data and be able to track all of that for just future learnings within their organization?
Yeah. Well, there are multiple ways to approach that. And everybody probably has noticed there's an analytics button on the side. I'll get to that. But I want to start inside the incident itself. From an incident level, you have a timeline that you can see everything that's happened with this incident over time. You can see who's touched it and start tracking it that way and looking at that data over time on an individual level. If you want to get that granular, you have that data. Also, back on the perimeter page, you probably noticed this protection here. This showing real-time monitoring. So of all the things we know about, we're looking at 43 actively. 6 have been removed, including those Git labs down there that we're no longer monitoring. But it tells us, hey, you don't have 100% protection for things we know you have access to. So it gives us that quick snapshot. Honey tokens, if you're deploying honey tokens, which we're not going to get into today, we can even track how many repos have that in it, and your progress on securing everything. And then have we run a historical scan on everything? We do that by default automatically, so that's probably going to be 100% for you. But then let's get to the analytics, and here we go. We can see the actual stats for our team over time. Now, this is the last month. We can also break this down into year or day or week. Let's look at the last year for today, apply filter, and let's look at the daily. So we get a pretty big chart. Something really big happened back in August, a big demo. But yeah, 968. And again, I want to reiterate, this is a demo org. We have taken care of our actual secrets. Don't worry. But the type of detectors we're pushing out there for demo reasons, what's around our perimeter, sources impacted by the perimeter. There's also these nice little pop-up modals. So if you're like, what does that mean? Well, we explain it right there in product. Team performance over time. Some teams absolutely love this, that they can see who's our leader on getting things assigned to them versus getting things resolved. Like Vince, we rely on an awful lot, but we know James, every time we assign him something, he gets it resolved immediately. And then there's the larger picture of your overall health. If you're worried about secret, or you're worried about posture management, security posture management, this is a good way to get a snapshot of like, how are we doing in this aspect? So that's our analytics.
All right. Remind me to give James a high five when I see him for being super responsible and on top of his workflow. So the last thing we wanted to touch on, Dwayne, right? One of the questions again that I asked at the beginning for people to think about is, how do I reduce our risk? And are secrets actually preventable? Is there something that GitGuardian can do to prevent a secret from being committed? So please enlighten us with the prevention methods.
I mentioned it a little bit ago, but if we can stop the secret from ever entering one of like your shared repos or Jira, then all of this becomes a lot easier. If there's nothing to remediate, then well, there's nothing to remediate because we've stopped it. How we do that around here is we have a tool called GG Shield. So I'm just going to run the command by itself to pull up the help menu. But GG Shield is the command line interface for the platform. It's not a separate standalone thing. It needs to connect to the platform, authenticate to it, and relies on that communication to the platform to get its job done, therefore extending the platform that we've just been talking about all the way to the developer's IDE. Now, in this case, what I want to focus in on is the secret commands. So most commonly, people will run GG Shield secret, type today, secret scan, and a lot of people will look at repo, the repo that they're in. Repo they're in. I'm not going to run that for this one because that would take a while, because this is OWASP's wrong secret project. There's a lot of things wrong in here. But I'm going to just look at the top level. I'm going to look at the files. I'm going to look at the path recursively and look through all the files and just look where I'm at and look from that folder down. And it's going to say, all right, how many do I want to continue? 778 files. Yes, continue. Now, there's a bunch of binaries in here, so just can't look at those. But here we can see, like, here's all the secrets it's detected, including, like I say, those are wrong secrets. They did a lot of stuff wrong on purpose. Go check it out. It's an awesome project. But okay, this isn't how a developer's probably going to use it, though they could. In all reality, that's still manual. Manual processes break down because of human error. What we can do, though, is with GG Shield, install a pre-commit hook. So I'm going to pull up my hooks. Git hooks are the automation platform built right into Git. It's already there. No need to turn it on. All you got to do is name a file with the particular thing, particular Git action, and it will automatically pick up that script and run it. So I'm going to install. I'm going to do it locally. So mode is local. You could also do it globally. I could set this to be a global Git hook, so it will run across all of my repos and all of my Git work on my machine. But for now, I'm just going to do it locally. And this is what it builds. And if your developers are already using Git hooks and they already have a pre-commit hook, they can just tag this onto the end. And you can add it on with the -A, and it will just append this on. So what does this command do? Well, I'm glad you asked. So if I pull up my main TF here, I have a false secret. I know this is an invalid one because I made this one up. I'm going to do a quick save to make sure I saved it, and then we'll do a git commit commit -am to say, hey, we're going to add everything. And then I'm going to say demo because I'm not really worried about the secret or the commit message here because it's going to fail. I know that secret's there, but I just asked, let's assume I didn't. And I've just tried to do a commit regularly. I'm going to see this message as a developer. Like, know that, oh, yeah, there's an AWS secret. I need to replace that, pull that out of there, replace it with some kind of call to my vault system or what have you. This is, again, our generic, what we start with. If you want to change any of this, this is open source. You can modify it to your heart's content and version it from your seat. From the enterprise side, we have customers that do that all the time. Even some information if you need to skip it for, it's a test credential, you can no verify and just skip your Git hooks and just throw it in there. We don't recommend that, but sometimes people need to do that. But this is it. This is how you can, as a developer, with 3 lines, one to install, one to authenticate, and then one to set your hook globally, and never think about GitGuardian again until you accidentally almost try to push a secret into your commits. But if you can stop it before it becomes a commit, it never enters your source control, and it never enters anywhere else.
All right, thanks, Dwayne. So what happens next, right? So if you enjoyed what you just learned, we want to tell you what it would look like to eventually partner with us. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that a problem actually exists for you, right? And so we're going to allow you to get some proof that you do have some secrets, that are out there, right? We don't expect you to blindly trust us. So we want you to try us out, make sure that this is going to be impactful for your organization. Then we're going to help you every step of the way when it comes to deployment. Whether or not you are on-prem or in the cloud, we'll be able to help set that up for you. We don't expect you to potentially roll out to your entire organization at once, right? You could be a huge enterprise with tens of thousands of developers, right? So we'll help you with a nice phased rollout. And then we're not going to forget about you, right? So we're going to continue to give you ongoing support with a customer success manager, with trainings, training webinars, etc. So you feel fully supported, that your user adoption is high, and everybody is maximizing the full power of GitGuardian.
Yeah, well, one of the things we like to say around here is that no single tool by itself is going to solve anything. This is true of every technology. You need to have that 3 pillars of a tool. The tools are important, don't get me wrong, but people using those tools in the right way and the correct processes in place that people can follow to use the tools for maximum effect. Once you have people using the right tools in the right way, then the problems are addressable, and that's what scales. And we've helped a lot of customers through trainings and lunch and learns, and just getting people on board with awareness and specifically how to use the product effectively at scale.
All right, so that concludes the demo for today. We just got it in 2 minutes to spare, so we do have time for a couple of questions. But before we get to those, if anybody wants to explore this a little bit further, that is my contact information. Please feel free to email me and ask any personal questions, or we can even set something up like this for your organization and get 10 times deeper and really peel back all the layers for you. But again, let's see if we have any questions.
I'm not seeing anyone rolling in right now, but there's still time. If you have a question, feel free to add it to the chat or to the questions box, and we are happy to get on it.
Yep. We're not going anywhere, so don't be shy.
I did know there was a question that internally that someone asked recently about GG Shield. So just to reiterate again, GG Shield is an extension of the platform. So if somebody has marked something as a test credential in the platform, it's already been resolved as ignored or resolved, that transfers to your local. So does GG Shield locally. So it would just be ignored locally as well and wouldn't show up in that report. It wouldn't get caught because, well, there's nothing to catch in that scan. It is something you have to install locally, but again, it's 3 lines. It can be done very quickly. Literally, is one copy paste, and you're done. And then you never have to think about it ever again. Well, until you actually try to commit a secret, then it pops up. Then you have to think about it. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any other questions here today, Jason. I think we can safely wrap it up.
I think we covered everything then, Dwayne, right? So
thank you very much for being here, everybody. We really appreciate your time, and stay safe out there.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.